Welcome back to another edition of Sports Inc. We have week 4 of the high school season coming up. This first week of the NFL season just done. Second week in college. We're getting into football. This is about the best time of the year right now. And, with college football, we also, on top of the high school stuff, a lot of college kids shine this past week, especially, Josh Ferguson in Illinois. He was even in the ESPN blog for the Big Ten saying how he had a big game and he needs some help in the backfield. And that's, the JCA product off to a good start, and it was like some of our other locals.
Yeah, Fergie had 106 yards his first 100 game of his career. Antonio Morrison, a freshman out there at Florida. I mean, he had six tackles this week in the second game. He had 3 the first week. I mean, this isn't Florida wasn't playing a little. I mean, this is the beginning of the conference season this week with Texas A&M playing. So it wasn't like they were playing Peter Palmieri or whatever. They were actually
hopefully against Tennessee this weekend. There's 0 tackles.
Yeah, he was So I mean, he's a true freshman. He was able to graduate high school early, get out there early, and start practicing with them. So he's really ahead of time. And I'm sure we have a lot more other kids out there with colleges and some big time schools. And you guys are some of them. We unfortunately can't keep up with where everybody goes. The ones that we know about, we follow, and we'll talk about them here. We'll put them in our roundups, but let us know about anybody else that you know of, and from college on up. Actually, we have 3 guys right now, from our area, playing in the pros. 2 of them in the same game last week with the Bears. You had JCA, Kobe Fleener, the rookie, his first week out, 6 catches, 82 yards. Opposite side of the ball, that one, we had Calvin Hayden from Jones Junior College had a nice day, and then Byron Stingley, he's starting out there in Tennessee on the offensive line. So some exciting football, but what we're all about here though is where it all starts in high school, and that's was a big week for us again.
Yeah, it was the game of the week. It was Plainfield North and Plainfield South at Plainfield North. Both teams are 1-1. It was a big start to the SPC season, and North took it to them. I mean, very often. How many times in your career of covering high school sports, watching college, watching pro, you see a team score on their first play from scrimmage, and the next time you get the ball, they take 17 plays and score a touchdown? Yeah. I mean, that was just a great start. Took a 14-0 lead. South fought hard, got back in the game. Actually outplayed North in the second half. The penalties, a horrible call on a kickoff return for a touchdown for South. It was called for a block in the back.
Replacement refs out there too?
Oh, jeez. I mean, North, you get yelled at by the coach, all of a sudden you throw the flag out there, and, a little touch in the back turns into a 15-yard penalty, and a meaningless play was called back, but North would have won that game anyway. I mean, they're the better team, hands down. And it's a big stretch for North right now. We're going to see them 3 weeks in a row. We got East coming. They got East coming up this week. They got Central coming up next week. They're getting all those Plainfield teams out of the way now. They're going to, Plainfield teams the last few weeks of the year, so if they can get through this little stretch, they could. It seems like the Plainfield teams are the best teams in the conference, pretty much outside of Oswego. So yeah. It could be a Plainfield battle. See who takes the title.
You're talking about games that teams were going to win no matter what. I mean, both the ones I saw this week were over before they started pretty much. I mean, Plainfield Central just rolled over Romeoville. 42-0. I got the shutout. We joked about it last week. I actually talked to John Jackson about this week, about how much fun it is to coach a team that he likes to coach. And he said, hey, he turned the reins over to Greg Jensick this year to call the plays. But, Greg understands, the same way that John had to go to the pass, years ago, Greg understands he's got to go to the run. Those horses in the backfield. And then, when you add a, 6 foot, 5'6", 330-pound, Bryce Douglas there in the backfield, on goal line situations, there's not a team in high school who's going to tackle him, let alone a couple linemen and linebackers. I mean, he's just a beast back there with good athleticism and good push. So they blew that one out of the water. And I said it before. I really think Plainfield Central is the team to beat this year, and they're really the cream of the crop in this conference. And my Saturday game wasn't much of anything else except for counting turnovers. 17 total turnovers in the game. How often you get a 54-6 game with Bolingbrook won 54-6? You have both teams make the state record books for most fumbles recovered in a game. The record's 10. Bolingbrook had 9 recovered in the game, so they got second place all time. But then there's like an 8, and then the fourth most of all time. A bunch of teams tied for 6. So Essential tied for that fourth most with 6, because as Bolingbrook had caught the ball up 6 times once they got their 2s and 3s in there. So That was a really odd game. To have a 54-6 game right out of the gate, and then to have have it all go to hell with fumbles all over the place. So it was a pretty interesting thing.
It's. I think the teams have really taken shape down in the southern schools. We know who's good. We know what to expect for the most part. I mean, you still have those few Plainfield teams. Plainfield at least had a big win over Oswego East. Maybe they can compete. But other than that, you have a pretty balanced. You know what's going on down south. Up north, it's still kind of crazy. Maney's just got smoked, but they're still 2-1. Niles West is 3-0. They still haven't played anybody great. So how good are they? We obviously know Maine South's really good. Notre Dame bounced back and be normal. They're 2-1. I mean,
right.
So they could be good. And you got Downers North. They're 3-0. They beat Oak Park River Forest. How good are they? Downers South got back and won big today, so they could still sneak up to 6-3, 7-2. Bennett's 2-1. They absolutely dominated St. Pat, and missed an extra point, missed a field goal, and that's how they lost that game. And had an interception return or a turnover for a touchdown in that game as well. And then even Lyle gave away their game, and obviously we knew that Westmount was going to get smoked by Wilmington. But those North schools, are they good? Are they not good? I mean, none of them have really been overly tested. I mean, Notre Dame, you wait to see what they play against the JCAs of the world, and Bennett,
Hey, JCAs of the world. Who knows about that team right now? We'll talk about them a little bit later, but right now they're a big question mark right now, because you don't really know what to expect out of that Hilltop team. If you could throw the ball at all on them right now, short, deep, whatever, it looks like if you could throw the ball on the Hillman, you could compete with them.
So I'll ask you a question. Up north, you take the Downers and the Niles area schools. Besides Maine South, obviously the best team. Who would you take as that second best team up there?
I think Downers Grove North right now. I mean, they're showing consistency. They're showing, they had the questions with the young quarterback, all the stuff like that. All the questions were answered, and they're, other teams, Downers South, won the one big. They lost a couple. Bennett's been in all their games. Downers Grove North, though, they've shown that consistency now for 3 weeks. And hey, I said, early in the season here, I said, 1 week, makes a trend. 3 weeks definitely makes a trend. I mean, 3 weeks, after 3 weeks of the season now, teams are usually what they're going to be. And, I think now we know what they are, and they're good.
I'm gonna reserve judgment on that pick until this week, because this week they play Lions. Now we'll see. Even though Lions is only 1-2, they just got smoked by Glenbard West. But they had 2 tough losses. They played 3 good teams, Glenbard West, I believe Stevenson, and Downer South, and they smoked Downer South. So we'll see this game. And if Downers North wins this game, they'll be going to play Downer South, and they'll be for real right there. Heading into that game. That game will be fired up if they're 4-0 going to face Downer South at home.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go with Bennett. Slight edge. I like Niles West. Niles West is doing some stuff too. They got
Jordan hasn't even blown up yet.
They're playing an 0-3 team. They can be 4-0, and you talk about their big game. They're a couple weeks away from Maine South. What if they're 5-0, 4-1 against Maine South? That'll be a fired up game. We're waiting to see some game of the weeks here that are going to be competitive, good games. I mean, besides week 1, the last 2 have not been. I mean, Plainfield North South was decent, but it wasn't down to the wire. This week, the way Minooka and Plainfield Central, the way that looks, that's going to be nowhere near good right now, the way Minooka's been playing. But I'm still reserving I'm still reserving some judgment that Minooka is going to give Central a game. This is a rivalry. So
we'll talk about that when we do our picks here just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bennett. And then the question up north, I think they should be in St. Pat's. They proved that sophomore quarterback, Downs North's got a sophomore quarterback, Bennett's got a sophomore quarterback that's been dynamite, and I'm going to go with Bennett in that one as being a top team up there.
Oh, hey, we'll see. I mean, it's nice to have teams to talk about, up there.
These teams, Niles West, I think 2-7 last year.
Right.
I think Downers North was 2-7, Bennett 1-8.
They've already all 3 of them have already won more games than they did last year.
Yeah, so this is shocking right now. Maine East already won more games than they won last year.
Right.
Whether they win another one or not, I don't know. But it's fun to see this happen up north, and I think we're gonna have a lot of playoff teams this year. I still think there's only gonna be a couple that are gonna make it through the first couple rounds, but we could have 8, 9 playoff teams this year.
I mean, it steps. For teams like Bennett, who's been down the last couple of years, and then Niles West, it steps. I mean, you're not going to win state title the year after going and get 2 wins. You got to get into the playoffs. Maybe lose in the first, second round. Then the next year, get back there, advance a couple rounds. And you got to build that up to get there. You can't go, 2 wins and win the state title, the next year. You got to, work it. So hey,
well, if you're recruit good enough, you could.
This year, take that first step, get into the playoffs. Then see what happens.
Yep. And we'll see what happens this week. We're gonna make our picks coming up after this. Mark needs to play some catch up on me. We'll be right back.
Well, we're back here for our pick segment, and Scott's got his yellow pad out, so that only means one thing. First off, he's gonna tell us the score of where we're sitting now. I know we've been pretty even, these couple of weeks here. You take that, Jimmy, yet?
Yep, it's Ricky Waters has 36 and 11. Brandon Marshall 33 and 14. So a few games behind, there's still a lot of time to catch up.
Oh yeah, a lot of times.
I think now that we're getting a conference season, we're getting more and more picks against each other. I think that some of these games are toss-ups. And
yeah.
I think we got quite a few toss-ups this week. We'll see how it goes. We're going to start up north. We're going to have 3-0 Maine South at 2-1 Niles North.
Yeah, I don't think we're really going to have to worry about this one too much. That's a Maine South blowout.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Niles North is 2-1, but they lost to Niles West. And, I think Maine South hasn't been overly dominant this year. 35-7 over Deerfield, but I do think this one's going to be enough to get the job done. Maine South in this one, so we both got them in that one. Got Niles West 3-0 at Highland Park, 0-3. Highland Park dominated Niles West last year. It looks like Niles West, though, based on the record, is going to dominate it this year.
Flip that one around. Take the Wolves.
I agree with you. I think push comes to shove, it's going to be Niles West. I think it's going to be a lot closer though than the 3-0 0-3 record. But I'm going to agree with you as well on that one. What about Glenbrook South? I'm sorry. 1-2. 1-2. They really win that division up there, and they're playing Maine East at 2-1. What about this one?
Give me the fighting Corys in this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let's take those boys. Like I said, I think that there's some excitement up there, for something other than played in that stadium other than soccer. So let's have a little more excitement this week for Maine East, and give me the fighting Corey brothers here. Let's take Maine East.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with that one. You got blown up by Evanston.
That was a good team.
Evanston is a good team, but I think Glenbrook South is better than a 1-2 record. I'm going to go with Glenbrook South. I think this is going to be a true test for Maine East. So Maine East, this is a game I think Maine East has to win if they want to make the playoffs. So.
I agree.
But I think Glenbrook South is going to take this one. What about Rich Central 2-1 at Bennett 2-1? I think those are two different 2-1s.
I haven't seen Bennett yet this year, but I see Rich Central. And trust me, I don't care what their record shows. Ladies and gentlemen, they're not a very good football team. They're just not. They're not a very good football team. They're not going to be a very good football team this week, and Bennett's going to roll in this one.
I agree with you. I think Bennett's offense has shown they can move the ball. The quarterback threw for 327 yards last week. He's not going to need to do it this week.
Joliet Central moved the ball very well against them.
Yeah.
Very well. A couple big plays, on the defense, but Joliet Central, offensively moved the ball all over them.
Don't be surprised you're running clock, right?
I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, we both take Bennett in that one pretty decisively in Bennett's last non-conference game before they go into some rugged games coming up. Notre Dame 2-1 at Marion 0-3. Tough start for Marion. Notre Dame, this is a must-win for Notre Dame too, because it's only going to get harder for them from here.
I do think that they'll get this one before they get into the meteor schedule. So I'm gonna take the Dons.
I will as well. James is having a great start to the season, and he's going to kind of lead the way, and they're just going to ground and pound Marion to death. I think Notre Dame in this one pretty handily. And now here's a game that we talked a little bit about. Downers North 3-0 at Lions 1-2. Lions has played a lot tougher schedule than Downers North. We'd like.
Hey, but momentum's your friend, and Downers North has it right now. They're going to keep it up 4-0.
4-0. Wow, I'm going to disagree with you here. I've been picking Downers North as well, but Lions, they were impressive in that win over Downers South, and after getting blown away by Glenbard West, who you have to figure, that team's just going to stay this year. They manhandled Warrenville South. They manhandled the Lions. I don't think anybody's going to beat Glenbard West this year. But in this game, I think Lions is gonna get the better of Downers North, which would be okay if Downers North loses a game. They can afford that right now. But I like Lions this one, a close game. I'm sorry, Downers North fans, but I'm rooting for you. But I just think Lions is gonna take this one.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with that Glenbard Westmoreland State too, because trust me, there's two teams in the SWSC. No matter where Glenbard West goes,
Glenbard West will be 7A most
Hey,
likely.
so well then they'll see the Griffins.
And they'll beat the Griffins. The Griffins lost in the second round of the playoffs last year.
That was last year.
Yeah, they didn't impress me too much last year. I like my Glenbard West pick pretty easily. I think they beat Warrenville South by 20. Maine South had a trouble with them. What about Leiden? 2-1. They're having a pretty good season. They're at Downer South 1-2. Downer South needs to win this one.
Downer South, they're going to get off their schneid in this one. They had some tough games early on. They won. I think they'll go ahead and keep their momentum going, and they'll take this one and come out to even 2-2, heading into their big matchup next week.
I agree with you. The big question with both these teams that we didn't mention about Downers North is, will they look ahead of that game? Because this game is going to be the biggest it's been in a few years, the Downers North, Downers South game.
I don't think North will, because North, they haven't.
It's a tough point.
Well, North hasn't been, this is a whole new experience for them.
That's why they might look ahead.
Not new to the program, though. I mean, Coach Waters has been around. He knows what to do. He'll keep them. He'll keep them in check.
I think Downers South can take advantage of the home field in this one. They're not. I mean, they look good. Maybe they turn the corner against Morton. I mean, it's easy to turn the corner against Morton, though.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna go with Downer South as well. But I think this is gonna be an interesting game for me. I want to see if Downer South wins or wins. That's gonna tell me who's gonna win next week, I think. Let's go to the SPC. What about Plainfield East 1-2 at Plainfield North 2-1? Plainfield North 7 turnovers last year. Plainfield East's win. What about this one?
Plainfield East, I thought that they were gonna lose a close one last week, and they rolled last week. I mean, they
undefeated SPC East team good.
I'm gonna take the Bengals in this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and talking to you about that Plainfield South Plainfield North game, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bengals in this one.
You know what? They can do it. They have I think the line play. I said at the beginning of the season. I said it depends if they can get the skill guys on the outside to do things, but right. I think their offensive line play is definitely the best it's ever been. They're going to give Plainfield North trouble, but I really like Plainfield North's athleticism. They have like the third different Myers that's going through the program at defense, and he's another one of those quick outside, quick linebackers that gets in and disrupts plays. And I just think there's too much talent on that side of the ball. Big question is, can Plainfield North throw the ball? They were 3 for 7 last week. But Kurt Palendek, I mean, you pounded inside with Jay Roberts. Then all of a sudden, Kurt Palendek goes around the edge. He's so fast for a quarterback. I mean, the kid can just burn you. I think he's going to be the difference in this game. If Plainfield North holds onto the ball, they'll win this one. I think they will. Plainfield North with the win. That's 2 differences already, I think, right?
Yeah.
3 differences. What about Oswego East 2-1? We just saw them get smoked by Plainfield East. They're at Plainfield South this week, 1-2. Plainfield South's got to have this one. There's no doubt about that.
Somebody got a quarter for me. This one, I know I asked for one last week, and this one here. I mean, it's just 2 teams. Both kind of coming off of different things. I'll go with Plainfield South. Just I think Kenny Bubas will have the boys ready, and I guess Oswego East was exposed last week, and I think they'll continue to be exposed this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oswego East has just been. For a conference that doesn't get much love in the SPC, Oswego East has been a doormat. They just can't win many games in the SPC. I mean, they go out of conference, and they win both their out-of-conference games year after year, and then they go into conference and they just get manhandled. And I don't think it's going to get manhandled. I don't think Plainfield South's team is going to manhandle you. The fact that they barely beat Joliet West has not proven to be a very good team. At least last week they didn't prove to be a very good team. But I still think Plainfield South's going to get this one done. Joshua Harris looked good. He only got a few carries last week. But the first one he got of the game in the second quarter after missing last week, it was 50-yard run. So I think he's going to be the difference. He's going to break it open. I think Plainfield South's going to win this one, stay in that playoff hunt. And then wrapping up the SPC for right now, Romeoville 0-3 at Oswego 2-1, and it just does not get any easier for Romeoville.
They're just a team. I mean, they're a team in shambles right now. I mean, Coach Cooney played last week. He just looked at me and said, "I have nothing to say." He said, there's talent there, and there's not doing it right now. And I mean, sophomore quarterback looked good last week. I mean, the kid's fearless. I mean, he has the but. There's just not the playmakers around there, and I saw Sweeto's going to roll this one.
Yeah, the good thing for Romeo does after these 4 games, it does get a little easier. You get a Sweet East somewhere along the lines, and Plainfield. Originally, I thought they could be Plainfield East, and I'm not so sure about that anymore. But Oswego is going to win this one, I think, rather handily. We got Lyle 1-2. Come off that tough loss at Reed Custer 1-2.
Let's go with Lyle. They've been competitive. They've been competing. I'll take the Lions this one.
I will as well. I think Lions. Reed Custer is 1-0 in the conference. Lions 0-1 in that small division. I think Lyle's going to win this one on the road, get themselves a 2-2, and get themselves in the playoffs. Last week's was a big loss to Seneca. They needed that Seneca game to get to 5-4 because they won the non-conference. They beat one of the big schools. So I'm going to go with Lyle on this one in a must-win game for them to try to make the playoffs. That leads us to Westmont 0-3. It was an expected 0-3, unfortunately. They're at Seneca 1-2. Seneca's coming off that win. Westmont's going to need this one. Can they do it?
Yes, they will. They'll get it now. Like I said, expected 0-3. I think they can't be hanging their heads too much because of who they've played so far. Yeah, you're 0-3, but I think when you look at the schedule at the beginning of the year, coach said, "Okay, let's go to week 4 here. This is where we got to win this one, boys, because the first 3, it's just juggernaut game." So I think they knew they had to win this one. This is what they were shooting for, and they'll get the win.
I think Seneca's riding some momentum. I like Westmont. I was rooting for them at the beginning of the year. This was a game I had picked Lions originally this season. I had picked Lyle to beat Seneca because they're playing at Lyle. I'm sorry. I picked Seneca to beat Westmont because they're playing at Seneca. I thought they would all beat each other. I'm going to keep with Seneca. I think Seneca's going to go 2-2 with this one, with a close win over a Westmont team that has yet to find its offense very, very successfully. Here's a bloodbath here. I'm sure you wish I would have assigned you this one about Lockport and Joliet Central.
Wow.
Battle of 0-3.
You want to talk about 2 teams just like going in opposite directions? I mean, even with the 54-6 loss last week to Bolingbrook, Joliet Central is still moving in the right direction. They still, the first 2 series of the game, they moved the football. They fumbled a lot. They're trying too hard. They're trying extra things. This is still a team that's moving in the right direction. Lockport, my Porters, my alma mater is just going so far in the wrong direction. It's not even funny. And I'm going to take them continually going the wrong direction. I'm going to pick the Steelmen in this one. It hurts me to pick against my alma mater in a battle like this, but I think sometimes, I think if Joliet Central can get up early and move the ball early a little bit, I think Lockport's just going to say, "Oh God, now we're going to lose to a team that has won in 3 years," and I think they're just going to kind of blow up internally, and they're just going to fade away.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. As bad as Lockport has looked at times this year, I still think they're better than Joliet Central. Joliet Central's got to win something before I pick them. I told you that earlier this year. Maybe if they would have beaten Revis or something, maybe I would pick them, but I got to go with Lockport in this one in a battle of teams that aren't going anywhere in the playoffs this year, though. What about Bolingbrook at Joliet West?
Not even a question of that one. I look for a running clock around halftime.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's...
I picked Joliet West to be my surprise team, and you know what? I said it last year. I picked them to be my surprise team. All of a sudden, hey, surprise! When I was good as you thought we were, and I think that's how it is. So.
Yeah, I agree with you there too. Bolingbrook's going to win this one pretty easily. JCA, they got Nazareth this week. How do you like their chances? Nazareth coached conference champs last year.
Yeah, Nazareth can move the football. If they can put it in the air, they can compete. But Ty's back. And then, everyone says, can one man really make a team? Well, no. But yes, it's a whole different dimension of that team when Ty's there. Because when Ty's in the backfield, you got to have a linebacker or spying on him. You got to shift the safety over to his side of the football field. You got to spread your defense out a little bit more. You can't pack the middle. When they have the Dollinger, Reitz, and Ivlo, 3 fullbacks in the backfield. All of a sudden now you can't pack the middle. You have to pay attention to it. Those little double handoffs and fakes, everything. all of a sudden you got guys fly to tie side, and then fullback going up the middle for a touchdown, or you're the quarterback going around the opposite end in a bootleg. So yes, with tie back, one man does make a difference. He's going to make a difference this game and the rest of the season. JC is going to roll this one pretty well.
Roll it pretty well. You see their defense? Who can they roll pretty well?
Well, that's
defense?
true.
Nazareth's going to score
If
points.
Naz can pass the ball, then they'll
Even the running game, though, JCA hasn't played overly well against. I mean, you know, I'm really torn between this game. I'm going to pick JCA with the fact that there's Ty Isaac on the field, but I have no confidence in all this pick. I think Nazareth can very easily win this game because they are a good squad. And that sets us up for the game of the week. Plainfield Central 3-0 at Minooka 0-3. Not the game of the week we were expecting. We were expecting probably like 3-0 versus 2-1 coming in. Does Minooka have a chance?
No. I mean, it's just that simple. No.
Minooka.
I don't care. Plainfield
Central. You're tired. You couldn't beat Oswego last week. You gave them that much.
You know what? I thought that last week was going to be the game that they were going to have to get the momentum. Had they even been 42-35, maybe. But 42, I mean, you know, you get blown out against Oswego. No, not even a chance. Plainfield Central was that good. Minooka's proving who they played that they're that bad. Not even a chance.
I'm going to give them a chance. I'm not going to give much of a chance. I'm going to give them a little 5% chance. I still think Plainfield Central is going to win this one, but it can be hostile in Minooka at times. And I think that's going to keep it close. But has Minooka put it? Have they mailed it in yet this year? Oswego, you look at 42 on the score as Oswego, it almost makes you think that they might have.
So after this loss, that go ahead and I think the stamps on the envelope. It's just waiting to be mailed after this week.
And we talk about Romeoville's tough schedule. I mean, Minooka, Providence, Morris, Plainfield Central, Oswego. Those are the 4 toughest games of the year, likely first 4 games of the year.
Yeah, well,
it's not a good way to start, especially with
a
first-year coach.
Yeah.
But, you know, Carnaggio, they're expecting big things. Carnaggio is a gritty player. He's not a quarterback.
It just hasn't happened so far for them.
He's thrown for 100 and some yards in 3 games.
Right.
I mean, come on. You have 2 solid receivers that are athletic. Stovall's an athletic receiver. You have to be able to throw the ball for 150 yards a game on these teams. They haven't done it. Plainfield Central's not the team to get healthy on. Central wins this one in our game of the week.
Oh, we've got a lot of different picks this week, so at least we'll have something to talk about next week.
Yeah, you know, it should be interesting. Can Mark come back? Am I going to extend the lead? We'll find out. Find out with us. Watch the games this week. Come back next week and do it all over again.
All right, well, that's it, because I got Givon's Pizza waiting right here behind camera for me to go eat, so I'm going to give me some lunch.
Until next week, see ya then.